Okay, it is 6 o'clock, so it's time to begin the meeting. Have your attention. Recording of the members present. We are all here. Mrs. Nemo is here just under the wire until your daughter's grade school program. We have two members of Cherokee, two students from Cherokee who are going to present the Pledge of Allegiance, and Mrs. Crawford, Dr. Kaufman is going to read their bio. So the kids, if you want to come up front.
Okay, we have Owen and Callie Thompson, third grade and kindergarten. Teachers are Mrs. Palmer and Mrs. Patler. Parents are Maggie and, oh, did I say it wrong? Tell me how to turn it. Oh, she's on maternity. Okay. And then her parents are Maggie and Jack Thompson. She straightened me out. Owen is involved in numerous activities, both physically and academically. He was asked to join Star Music this year, and he enjoyed singing with the other students. He plays sports like football, baseball, roller hockey, and is trying soccer for the first time this spring. Haley just completed her first season of basketball and plans to try softball in the spring with a group of friends. She is also enjoying learning and new things at school. Are you gonna come up if you don't enjoy that? Sure. You wanna come up here? You don't? If I come down there, can you come up? Hold your
Just stand right where you are, baby. You're good.
You can stand by your mom.
Yeah, stand by your mom.
There you go. Mom can sit. All right.
Attention for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Very well. Here, come up here and present for you.
We have a prize. You want a prize?
First.
You have a bag of goodies.
You have a bag.
But before you escape, we want to take a picture of the.
Take a picture of her. Yeah, you're taking.
She knows I take pictures with her sometimes. Okay, turn around, smiling, smiling.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
And you guys.
Thank you all very much. Item E, Tigers Roar. We're going to have the girls wrestling team, and they are academic state champions. And Travis Kirby and Rocky Reeves are, is it Reeves or Reeves?
Reeves.
Reeves are going to, why don't you come up and present your goals? Talk to us about it.
So this is the second year in a row these girls have been 6A academic state champions. Having a team GPA of 3.964, so pretty high. Pretty neat. Group of girls, so this is Charlie Peters, Reagan Jackson, Ellie Hendricks, Haley Whitley, Rasha Maxwell, what's your name? Madison Brad, Melissa Valderas, Jordan Brad, and then assistant coaches Janine Perry and Rocky Reeves. Out of this group of girls, so far we've had a girls wrestling team here for going on 5 years now. They've had a successful season every year as far as dual meets go. This year they finished their record with an 8-4 record. Up here, there's 4 girls that are returning state qualifiers. We're only losing one, which is our senior, Jordan Brad. Jordan doesn't know this, so Jordan's a 2-time state qualifier. Just found out today that she's been selected for the All-State team.
Yes.
Take a picture.
And girls, when you look behind you, this wasn't purposeful that we have a 5 female board and a female superintendent, but it looks really good with all of you women in front of us.
Okay, just take one step that way and everybody follow. You gotta center up. All right, right here, 1, 2.
Open your eyes, Reagan.
Coach, I have a question. Are we 6A?
Here we go, like everybody can speak your eyes closed.
That is
Some of you might
impressive.
have to.
The room's going I think it's so nice that we open girls' sports in all arenas. And those, what was that GPA?
Like 3.94?
964.
That's amazing.
31.
Very impressive. All right, item C, public to be heard. And bear with me while I read through this description. Members of the public shall be allowed to attend all meetings of the Board of Education. In addition, the Board of Education will have an item on regular meeting agendas that affords citizens the right to address the Board of Education on items pertaining to education and/or the operation of the school district. The item will appear prior to any business being conducted by the Board of Education. A resident wishing to address the Board of Education must fill out a form before the meeting and submit it to the board clerk. The speaker is to move to the lectern on being recognized by the board president and give his or her full name and address. The speaker will be allowed 4 minutes to address the board. Public comment will be limited to the first 5 individuals who sign up to speak and will not exceed 20 minutes total. The board and administrative staff will not respond to questions or comments at the meeting. The resident may receive a written response as soon as possible. Questions and complaints relating to employees of the district, and this is all caps, will not be permitted at this time. Such questions are to be referred to the superintendent at another time. Presentation or discussion of matters which are currently under legal review will not be permitted. This is TPS Policy 2217. And I think we have 5 submissions. And the first submission was Mrs. Cotton.
Thank you. I'm Kathy Cottle of the 1214 South Los Avenue, Chalabar. Release instruction time is a fact in Oklahoma since the signing of House Bill 1425 into law. School districts are required to adhere to this law. Concerns of separation of church and state and keeping religion out of schools is being circumvented by using these laws in other states such as Ohio. Instead of being held outside of classroom time like other extracurricular activities, students leave during elective courses to participate in these religious programs. It is yet to be determined if the same access to all religious teachings will be granted or just Christian teachings. It is to be expected that the boundaries of these release laws will be tested. LifeWise is endeavoring to enter into an agreement with Chalabar Public Schools I urge the board and parents to approach this very profitable nonprofit with caution. The organization already has seen an enormous financial windfall in just 1 year in Ohio. The Columbus Dispatch on January 14th, 2025 reports that LifeWise netted a profit of over $17.2 million in its most recent IRS filing, up from $4.3 million the year before. Since LifeWise has begun programs in Ohio, problems have occurred when students who do not participate are ostracized or bullied by those who do. In Ohio, this has been a prevalent problem. Zachary Parrish, the parent of a student who was a second grader in Defiance City Schools in 2021, experienced such bullying and was called a LifeWise leftover and told she was going to hell. This is a second grade child. When classmates left for religious instruction, children who did not participate were sent to study hall in the gym to work independently, leading some parents to criticize it, saying their student had been ostracized and bullied for not taking part in it, and their education had suffered due to the disruption during the school day. I urge parents, educators, administrators, board members, and community members to educate themselves on LifeWise and any other programs that might attempt to take advantage of the Oklahoma Release Instruction Law and proceed with caution. Not all kids are religious, and not all religious kids are Christians, and not all Christians are evangelicals. I have nothing against religious teachings, but I do believe religion has no place in schools.
Next speaker is Allison Snyder.
Hello, my name is Alice Snyder. I'm on 1435 North Indiana Avenue. My son Emmett Snyder is a freshman enrolled in the aviation program here at the high school. And when we enrolled Emmett, we were so excited to sign him up for aviation. We were so grateful to be in a community with an exceptional school district, willing to invest in such an extraordinary education and real valuable career pathways for its students. It blew us away that after 4 years in the program, our son could potentially graduate with an accreditation on his diploma. We've been thrilled with the program's multidiscipline focus, from history of aviation to national infrastructure, air traffic control, to multiple STEM disciplines like physics, engineering, mathematics, mechanics, aeronautics. This class provides so much. And though it's Emmett's most difficult, most challenging class, it's also his favorite. Additionally, with our nation in desperate need of qualified talent in the field, and with aerospace being the second largest industry in our state, we were secure knowing that Emmett would be well prepared to enter the workforce right out of high school, or be more desirable to the Air Force if he continues with his current goal. The Oklahoma Department of Aerospace and Aeronautics created a strong coursework which meets with the new standards set for graduation. It paid for the flight simulators in the classroom. It offers professional development for teachers and special events for aerospace students. And now we have close to 50 students participating in this opportunity, gaining so many skills and investing in their future. To learn this valuable program is being cut is crushing. The district made a commitment not just to ODAA and our community, but most importantly to the kids themselves. What message does it send to the students to start and invest in this 4-year program, only to pull it after just a couple of years? We are here tonight begging you all to reconsider ways to fund and retain this pathway, which should be the district's crown jewel. In his remarks at the State of the Community address last week, Chief Hoskin Jr. discussed the importance of supporting those who aren't on a path to college but want to get a good training, putting people in a position to succeed, and investing in the drivers of jobs. And the aviation program does all of that. So please pursue ways to fulfill the promises made and reinvest in this valuable program that gives students desirable, well-paying career pathways and sets them up for success right out of school.
Thank you. Emmett Snyder.
Hello everyone, my name is Emmett Snyder. I'm a freshman at Talpa High School and I'm here to petition the fact that Talpa High School is going to drop its excellent aviation program. I'm petitioning this decision because I'm seeking a career in the Air Force as a pilot. This is a very tough career to choose, and having an aviation program at school undoubtedly gives me a better shot at that career. Another reason that aviation should be kept is that while it's basically my hardest class, it's an odd combination, it's also my favorite. This is an odd combination that many of my peers in the class happen to share, and I think they share it because it's an exceptional class with an exceptional teacher. I therefore urge the school board not to drop aviation classes now or in the future. That's all that I have to say, so thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Very well spoken. Stephanie Coleman.
My name is Stephanie Coleman. I'm at 16804 West 736 Road. I too am here to beg you to see the importance of keeping the aviation program for these children. My son Samuel is currently a sophomore. When he came home and told me, "Mom, I'm gonna be in the aviation program," I said, "Okay, son, go for it." And he said, "And I'm gonna be in JROTC." I said, "Okay." And he says, "Because I have a plan, I have a goal." And I giggled and said, "You're 14. Tell me more about this goal." And I will say that of all my 4 children, he is the most determined. So when the child sets a goal, I know that he's gonna stick with it. So then when he came home and said, "Mom, they're taking the aviation program away," I said, What? And he said, "Yeah, they told us we would have 4 years, and I'm halfway through it. I've committed 2 years, and, with the promise of just accreditation to my diploma, and now I'm not gonna have that." And I said, "Well, now, hang on. Nothing's set until it's set in stone." It was just devastating to hear my child talk about the hopes and dreams that he had and the plans that he had set into motion at 14, to be told, "Sorry, we're not gonna do that anymore." I've taught my children from an early age, if you set goals and you work hard, you can achieve them. And while I'm not saying that he can't still achieve his goals, it's gonna be far more difficult for him to achieve them if this program is not available for him to do that. So I too am begging you to see the importance of this program, the importance of the commitment and dedication that these children have put into it. And he might come home and say, "Oh, you wouldn't believe what we had to do in aviation today, it's hard. But then he follows it up with, "But it's my favorite." So just with that, just know that if it is taken away, I feel that it's a great injustice to these children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 5, Samuel Colton.
Hello, I'm Samuel Coleman, resident of 16804 West 736 Road. I'm a sophomore in high school and currently going through my 2nd year of aviation. When I was in the 8th grade, I was told that there was a new program that would teach me how to become a pilot and everything I would need to know. within that information, I set a goal to, I was determined to become in the aviation image industry and work hard for it. And with that goal, it would have been easy to achieve with 4 years of this class. I've done my research and I've also realized that the pilots are needed all nationwide. And this class is only available in so many schools in the state. And there are many kids who would love to career or continue through going through this career. It is a amazing opportunity for the kids to set a early goal in mind and having everything ready by the time that they graduate. And I was very disappointed to learn that the program is going to be taken away from all of us who had also been depending and hoping that the program would stay. I hope that you consider keeping this program. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much to all speakers. Continuing, item D, discussion and vote to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. This is the February 25th, 2025 special meeting. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Mrs. Aye. Dr. Everson?
Aye.
Dr. Coughlin? Aye. Mrs. Crawford?
Same.
And aye. Item E, Deputy Treasurer to the report. Discussion and vote to approve the monthly financials.
The bank balance at the end of January was $21,374,927.95. Receipts for the month of January, general fund was $4,052,750.27. Building fund was $885,424.10. Sinking fund was $439,140.91. That brings the general fund balance at the end of January to $10,076,296.05. Building fund, $6,228,901.74. Bond fund, $762,578. Sinking fund is $2,718,974.77. I wanted to bring to your attention the interest that we earned for that month. It was $60,853.54. Activity accounts at the end of January, $1,262,123.50. Our electric was $3,596 less from last February to this February. Water was $398.24 more. And then our gas was $9,442.96 less. So we're still seeing savings.
Still six.
Say 9,000 on the gas?
Yes, 9,400. Anything else?
So, do I have a motion?
No, not yet.
Motion,
I'll make a motion.
any discussion? Ms. Coleman? Aye. Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Dr. Coughlin?
Aye.
And Mrs. Crawford? And aye. Item F is superintendent's report.
Today, as of today, we have 521 employees, 3,635 students. That is a couple students down from last month. 175 pre-K students, 444 at Cherokee, 494 at Greenwood, 500 at Heritage, 706 at the middle school, 1,304 at THS and Central. When we update the capacity tonight at this meeting, we will have no transfer spots open for the fourth quarter. Short bond update, the TMAC steps are now usable. There's some little finishing touches, some glass block work and some lights they've got to put in, but they are back to being functional, so that's been a long time coming, so that's very good. The TMS intercom is ordered. We have problems on and off, Miss Abby would say, I would say, at that building, but we're doing whatever fixes we can until we can go in and redo the entire system this summer. Roof repairs, we need to get individual quotes for each of the buildings, and so we have one quote and we are impatiently waiting on other quotes to come in. And so as soon as we have that, then we can choose a vendor and then we can get to work on that. Fencing in the gate at transportation, we have said that's installed. We're also putting in an automatic scanning system at that gate. I always have my badge, I don't have it on. Likened to our badge where we scan to get into a door. So when our teachers or employees get there at midnight, bus drivers, they'll be able to scan and the gate will open, because if you've ever had to open the gate, when you get out of your car and you wrestle with the chain and you I know a person that I just happened to live with that accidentally locked themselves in and had to climb over the gate. It was very confusing. It's not been easy to work, so this is a big good renovation for us. So that will make it much nicer for all of our employees to get in and out of. The parking lot expansion at Cherokee, the fence is moved back. The city has been super helpful. They're going to let us use some of their equipment. They're giving us what Brad calls millings, and I can't even tell you what that is, except that I'm going to say it's likened to rock because it's what's going to create a parking lot. Sorry, I can't be more technical than that with that explanation. So
It's gonna be gravel, or I heard someone say they were putting asphalt.
it will be gravel. It will be whatever a milling is, but it's not asphalt. It's not concrete and it's not asphalt. One of these days. We are hoping that will be completed by May 1st, and a new marquee at the Performing Arts Center on the high school campus has been ordered, and we have quotes for all of the electronic signs around the district, and I believe we're gonna be able to sneak those in on this renovation money. We're just being cautious as we finish some of these other big projects. The barn, as you know, we did our GMP at the last meeting. The building package has been ordered. We should be getting all of that in May and be able to get the building up and ready for our students with our ag use at the beginning of school. So that appears to be on time as of right now. February attendance, Sequoia's February attendance was 88.6, which was about 3% up. Cherokee was 92.2, which was about 3% up. Greenwoods was 91, and it was 91.3, so it's almost stayed steady. Heritage went up a couple percentage points to 91.8. Middle school dropped a percentage point to 89.4. They were 90.5. And the high school went down from 90.9 to 89.9, so a slight decrease as well the attendance. I think the middle school and the high school had a higher attendance the month before when all the littles were sick, and it seemed like it flopped a little bit in that next month. Child nutrition data, we served 63,103 meals and 15 serving days. Obviously, we missed a few serving days that month because of the ice snow. We will pay Chartwell's $195,344. Other bills are about $36,000, so for a total cost for child nutrition in the month of $231,702. We will be reimbursed for $235,970, so we're in the black. $268. It's going in the right direction. Yes. So those of you who wonder why we're excited about this, we have this year we have CEP where all of our students can eat for free. Students can eat for free, but that doesn't mean it's free to us. There still comes at a cost to us. And we also have a new child nutrition company. So we were meshing two big changes this year. And so from every month, we're looking at it just to make sure that we're doing what we need to be doing to be able to continue with that CEP program, which is what we really, really want as a school district. So we love that it's going in the right direction.
So boys, make sure y'all eat.
Yes,
Okay.
it's important.
Breakfast and lunch.
So grab and go carts at THS and TMS. At TMS in January, 20% of the students had breakfast, And in February, 25% did, so again, that's what we wanted, we those breakfast counts up, so that's obviously working. And THS served about 20 to 25% in breakfast for that month as well. Another big thing that they started, they're feeding the TMS and THS baseball teams supper for every home and away game. And they also just fed 129 track students last week for lunch at a track meet. So Lacey and Colin and Heidi are working with our coaches and figuring out a way that we can get those athletes free meals as well. Good job, Ms. Lace. Just to go over some dates again, just a reminder, April 17th, I have everyone except Sean, because she had a previous engagement, signed up for the Zone 8 meeting in Muskogee. Our TOY, Teacher of the Year and Retiree Reception is April 22nd. I will email you these dates. Accent on Excellence, you're always invited to celebrate the good work that everyone does here in the districts. That's May 21st at 8 a.m. Graduation, again, is at 2 p.m. on a Sunday. That's different this year, so I want to say that every time between now and then. And the state OSSBA conference has been moved to the first weekend in September, which is a new month. We did go ahead and refile for our September meeting to be moved to Thursday the 18th instead of Tuesday the 16th. Thank you for letting me be flexible with that date. Just want to have a small, say small, there's a lot of writing for me, a little bit of an explanation about something that's going to be happening later on in the meeting. It's about LifeWise. Later in this meeting, we have an MOU with LifeWise on the agenda to approve or not approve. The agreement with LifeWise was prepared by our attorney at our request to establish affirmation of insurance and liability of students when they leave the campus for that program. To be clear, it is not a TPS program and it is not on any of our campuses. Students will not be under our legal responsibility, nor will they be supervised by TPS employees once LifeWise picks them up from school. Parents will need to contact LifeWise for any questions about logistics about the program. Our role as a school district is to work with LifeWise to identify time in the instructional day that students can be pulled from according to the law. Students can legally miss up to 3 hours of non-tested subject area classes per week and not be counted absent from school. This is not our board policy. This is state law. Earlier this school year, we did adopt a policy 5508, that outlines procedures for releasing students for religious instruction according to House Bill 1425. The board policy states, the Board of Education will approve released time courses for elective credit as per Oklahoma House Bill 1425. A released time course is defined by law as a period of time during which a student is excused from school to attend a course in religious or moral instruction taught by an independent entity off school property. Any independent entity that would like to offer a course to be considered for elective credit shall discuss the proposal with the superintendent or superintendent's designee. The proposal shall include an assessment, a course syllabus, a calendar of when the course would be offered, the methods of assessment utilized in the course, the qualifications of the course instructor, and a template written consent form that will be provided by the independent time program. The school superintendent, principal for the school site, were over the scheduling and timing of release time courses. Students who participate in release time courses are considered in attendance in the school district, and the time is calculated as part of the school day. Upon successful completion of the course, elective credit will be provided to students when their work is completed. It is substantiated by a transcript from the independent entity providing the course. This board policy refers to transcripted electives, which that only happens in high school. So our board policy that we had to adopt for House Bill 1425 only talks about how you would transcript courses at the high school level. There's nothing in board policy that we voted on or even could vote on that said this could happen or could not happen. And I just wanted to make that clear. So religious programs at any other level, so middle school, elementary, are with parent permission, and our role is only to facilitate the time that causes the least amount of interruption in the day. Parents have the legal right to sign their child up for this instruction during the day. The LifeWise group essentially will have the legal right through the student's guardian to pick the child up from school. So we work with them to find the least restrictive time for them to be pulled, if a parent chooses for them to be pulled. And we have no other authority over whether or not the program can happen outside of our school. I know we'll have more questions about that when we get to the vote, but I did want to give you a little bit of background information before we go into that piece. And that ends my report for the day.
Item G, discussion and vote to approve the following surplus. A motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Mrs. Nemo.
Aye.
Dr. Eversole.
Aye.
Dr. Kaufman.
Aye.
And Mrs. Crawford. And aye. Item H, business items, consent docket vote to approve H1 through 2 and 3 with the exception of items H1G, H1I, and H1J, which we will vote on separately. Motion,
I'll make a motion to approve.
any discussion? Mrs. Nemo. Aye. Dr. Eversole.
Aye.
Dr. Kaufman.
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford. And aye. H1G, agreement with LifeWise Academy to establish guidelines and affirmation of insurance for parent-initiated off-campus release time courses for TMS students who wish to participate, ending on June 30, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I will move to approve. I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yes.
When does this,
Yes, I have.
when does this start?
So the intention is to start after spring break. But I do want to start out with saying this contract, like I alluded to, or at least said, I think, or earlier, this is not a contract to approve LifeWise.
Right.
This is a contract to establish that LifeWise has insurance and that LifeWise is liable for our students once they check them out for their program. And so I wanted that to be clear, because I think when we had written it earlier, when we just said a contract with, people thought we were choosing to sign up for this. And that is not the case. Our role, again, is just to work with any entity that comes to do this and find a time that works best for the school and for the students with the least amount of disruption. So we started conversations with LifeWise probably last August or last summer, it's been a while. And as the law states, a group can choose for 3 hours of instruction a week. The local group here is only interested at this point in 1 hour of instruction per week. They have just chosen one building to start with, and that was Tahlequah Middle School. I think some of that has to do with the proximity of Cornerstone Fellowship, which is where I believe they're going to, and ladies, if I say anything wrong, just shout out and correct me. That's where they are going to have this instruction. And so they wanted to start with one place that was logistically easier than transporting kids someplace. They have worked with Ms. Keys to know when 6th grade electives are, 7th grade electives are, 8th grade electives, because that's what a child would miss if they were going to go attend this. They cannot miss math, they cannot miss reading, any of the tested subjects. The contract, again, was at our attorney's request just to cover us legally. Our attorney also suggested that we add an additional permission slip that the parents sign, and that LifeWise agreed to put that in their packet of papers, and also did sign the agreement that we bring to you today. Both things that they did not have to do, I will say that. They have worked with the principal to try and find a schedule that is the best that we can. will begin after spring break, and in all honesty, I can't tell you how it's going to work until we see the first day and we see how that all plays out. I'm not sure how many students will be checked out. Abby, do you have any idea? Has anything been given on numbers?
I have 21 on the list right now,
21 on the
total
list.
for all 3 grades.
One thing that I did ask the middle school to do, no offense to the students in the room, but middle school kids sometimes like to sign things for their parents. Which maybe we've even done it in our lifetime. So I have asked that if a permission slip does come back for this, that an adult at the school is calling, talking to the family, making sure that the family is aware that we have a signed permission slip before we let them leave. I would not want a parent to come to pick up a child for a dentist appointment and they not know they're across the street at a different campus. So I think that's one other step that we put in play for this. So that's my motor running for a minute. What questions do you all have, or statements you have for me, then questions?
I have a question for Abby and then I have a comment. So will this be, because their electives are at different times, will you have kids going pretty much all day, or is it?
3 different class periods during the day. Mm-hmm. And they'll go by grade level. They won't intermingle. Like some electives are 7th and 8th have 1 hour that's combined, but they're not going during that hour.
So it'll
6th
be all
grade will
6th
go at
graders
6.
at one time, all 7th graders.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it's not, they can't be gone 3 consecutive hours.
No, because they would not have 3 consecutive hours in a day that they could miss no content subject. So a 6th grader would miss right now on what they have planned, 1 hour of instruction a week.
3 times, oh,
Just once a week.
Just
The
once.
law allows 3 times.
okay.
But right now, they're just doing 1 hour a week.
Have somebody been selected to teach this, or?
I have met a board and a director. I have not met a teacher. So like when I read board policy and it talks about like instructor and a syllabus, all of those things, that doesn't apply to this. That only applies to a high school level pullout. Because when they get to a high school level pullout, we will be required to transcript that on their high school transcript. Not sure how that's going to work out. We, for the lack of a better word, we're the guinea pigs in our state.
We are the first school that I know of in Oklahoma that
Yes,
this is happening.
yes.
So I have a comment. I'm going to vote yes on this, somewhat begrudgingly. I don't like it. I didn't like when the law was passed last year, and I contacted my local lawmakers and urged them to vote against this. I do know that this is not unconstitutional. The United States Supreme Court in 1952 had a case where this very same thing was happening in New York, and they said because it was off campus, because it was not school money, because it was not required, that it didn't violate the First Amendment. So that's the reason we have this law, because other states have had it, the court said you could do it. One reason that I am voting yes for the MOA, so in addition to them having to indemnify us, and the state law specifically says that the school is not responsible once a child leaves, indemnification is another step of that. If we do get sued because a kid, God forbid, has an accident crossing the road, indemnification means LifeWise has to step in, pay our attorney's fees, defend us, pay any judgment that would be against us. But the other thing that it does that I actually think is more important, LifeWise has agreed via this contract with us to do background checks on their employees. That is not something that's required under state law, shockingly. I think it was probably an oversight, but there's no, this law was passed with this program in mind because it's a corporation, it's in several states, but it can be any religious or moral instruction. It doesn't even have to be a set religion. So a group that comes up and says, we're gonna offer moral instruction on X and we wanna meet these requirements, they would be able to do it as well. But the other thing that I think parents should know, although LifeWise via this agreement is agreeing to indemnify us and state law says the school is not responsible, the permission slips that parents have to sign for their kids to go says that LifeWise is not responsible. So if a kid has an accident crossing the street, that parent has signed a piece of paper that says they can't make a claim against LifeWise if their child is injured during part of this program. So,
nor against us.
right.
So,
And typically, you know, assuming you prove negligence or that type of thing, schools carry insurance. If a kid gets hurt, it's probably covered. But if there's negligence on the part of the school, I don't like it. I think it's a slippery slope. I do think that it could lead to, you know, there might be a lot of people in this community that like this church or this organization, but we don't have any say on who this is. I followed this really, really closely before I even knew that there was going to be one in Tahlequah. And some of the stuff that Ms. Cott talked about, kind of the recruitment that's used. These kids go back to school and they say, hey, if your parents sign this form, next week you get out of art class and you get to come have pizza and popcorn across the street for an hour. There was one school where they all wore t-shirts on the same day, so then the kids, and this was like, it got up to like 85% of the school was going, so you have 85% of the kids in the same shirt telling the other 15% of the kids that they need to come. There have been issues with employees with backgrounding, and I wanna be clear that the local folks who are doing this, they're not part of this corporation. They're local people who wanted to bring this. I think that they're doing this in a good faith effort, but this corporation has had issues, and I think their model has issues, and I don't like it. If I could vote to not have it, I would. I absolutely will not be sending my children to it. I think that religion is a decision for families, it's made outside of school. But for all of those reasons, I am going to vote to approve the MOA because I think it does provide some additional protections to the school, and I think it provides some additional protections to our kids in that they are agreeing to do background checks on any employees of LifeWise.
I'm disappointed that they couldn't have it after school. I mean, very disappointed about that. I mean, I go to church, I believe in Jesus, and I think all kids need, you know, some religion in their life, but I'm very disappointed that it had to happen. That it had to happen during school hours, and it really bothers me that it's during electives, because what are we saying that our electives aren't important, and they are. Had a lot of calls on it from lots of different people, almost more than the mask stuff. Spent a lot of time on the phone and text and stuff. And I have people that go to some of the churches that are doing it, and they're like, we're not gonna send our kids because we don't want to pull them out for out of instruction time, no matter if it is an elective, and you know, they're worried about the consequences of that. And I just said, you just need to do what's best for your child. I will be voting yes because we have to, but I would really like to see it happen after school. They would have more attendance, I think, if it were after school. That's all I have to say.
I agree, and Abby, I have sympathy for you guys.
Yes.
It's going to cause a ruckus with checking kids out, checking kids in, so I'm gonna think good thoughts for you, that doesn't get too chaotic. And when I taught high school, I was an elective teacher, and electives are important. I'm just gonna say that. And I'm gonna vote yes because I have to. So,
I think I am voting yes because we have to, basically, in order to protect us. And it, as you, everyone has said, it is a slippery slope, and and I think there will be quite a bit of confusion for a while in trying to make this work. And kids work the system also, so I also, you have my sympathies. I hate for you to have to deal with this.
I want to clarify that, Janie already said this, but even if we all voted no on this contract tonight,
doesn't
this
matter.
program would start and would probably be, it would probably be tougher because we're going into this we're being cooperative, we're working together, and otherwise it may be, we would only have their forms, we would have parents coming up there, so it is, as much as we can make it easy. We have to allow the program, we don't have to have an agreement, and there probably will be lots of schools that don't. But the agreement does provide some additional protections, so.
And I reiterate what Dr. Kaufman said, we've lost $600,000 in after-school money in the last 2 years. We have historically had 3 21st century grants at the same time, and now we have 1. That is a huge hit to the finances and the after-school program, and we're making it work. But, you know, I would ask for anyone that is listening, in the after-school would be a great place to put a program like this. We can't have the robust program that we used to have in after-school with the lack of funding. And so that would be a lot better place to put the program. I too love Jesus. I have no problem with the message, but I would prefer that it not happen in the middle of the school day. I would love to see it happen someplace that would work for them and for us as well. I do worry about the mixed messages to our teachers that your classroom is unimportant, so they get to miss that. So shout out to all those elective teachers that might be watching this, you are important to us. And I also, the people that are, the Tahlequah community members that are doing this, I think every one of them very well. They are good people with good hearts, and they are trying to do what they feel like is best to help our youth. I just think that it could be done in a better way that does not cause controversy, does not cause strife, or some of the things that you read about in that article. I worry about that.
I wanna say, I work at a church. So it's not like I'm anti-church.
So
I'm like you.
It bothers me that this is a corporate entity. If individual churches had programs from our community churches that were taking students, I would feel much easier about it. But this is what has been presented to us, and what we have to deal with, and I appreciate the attorney working on the agreement, because as you say, it offers safeguards for us, but also for the students, which we truly always have first in our minds is our
I just want to reiterate, the fact that we passed a law requiring us to release students to people who may or may not have a criminal background check is ridiculous. I mean, so if we are gonna revisit this thing, let's at least make sure that the people who are picking up our kids and transporting them and spending an hour with them during the school day have had a criminal background check, which our contract requires.
So, okay, are we ready for?
Do we have a,
I mean, yeah, we're on first and second.
Vote.
Okay.
We're ready to vote. Ms. Neva?
Aye.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Dr. Kaufman?
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford? And aye. The next item is H1I. And we need a vote to approve a contract for sale and exchange of property between the city of Tahlequah and Independent School District, number 535. I have a motion.
move to approve.
second?
Now, any discussion?
We've not had a lot of conversation about that in the board meeting, so I thought it was important for us to maybe pull this out so I could explain a little bit. So we have a contract this evening for an exchange of property with the city of Tahlequah. We are going to exchange this building that we are in right now and a 5-acre tract of land that is in a floodplain behind Greenwood for the Armory building. The Armory building is a larger space. Some of you, if you've listened to board meetings or what we've talked about over the last year, what we really wanted to do on the next bond was to renovate Old Central into this complex where we could have PD and we could have plays and we could have professional development for on the county. Well, that just wasn't in the stars for this bond. That's a very expensive building to renovate, and we had too many other things that we needed to do in the school district. So this had been something that was discussed years ago, and was able to reconnect with the mayor and the city planner and the city council in the last few months, and we have an agreement to exchange property for property. They have interest in this property for something that they have on their plans for some time in the future. And we had interest in that space that has an auditorium where we can do, as you saw tonight, we're taking a lot of people into the board meetings now, and that's a really good thing. I love that kids, that 2 students have come tonight and have spoken in front of us about something that's important to them. And your parents and Ms. Cott, we love having people come and attend these meetings. We often have a lot of other people that come just to walk in the last few years that said, you know what, we want to put our actions, what we say we care, but we don't show up, we don't listen, we don't participate, and they have been. We love honoring students and have large groups of kids in here. But if we want to honor the band, we can't fit the band in here. They're lined out in the parking lot, and so
we might not have fit them in the armory.
Yes, it's true, the band. But we have outgrown this space. We also cannot fit all of our business space into this building, which is problematic when personnel and payroll are not where finance and the director of HR are in the same space. So that building will allow us to have all of our business staff in one place. It will allow us to remodel it in such a way that we still have one large side open where we can have PD of our own, where we can work with community groups like Tahlequah Best and things like that still need to come in and do community meetings. And our intention is to leave the auditorium space like it is, we'll freshen it up, but it will still be used where we can partner with community theater and we can have people that come in and use those spaces. I want people to come in and see what we do at Tahlequah Public Schools. And so that's the best of both worlds. So this is a contract, a real estate contract exchange, which you can enter in because we are both community, state organizations. And this will happen over the next few months. After we sign this, it'll be a real estate, then we'll go to closing and all of the things you do for a real estate deal. And then we would take ownership of the building, hopefully the beginning of the summer to the late summer. And then we would start renovations, hope we would be in 4 or 5 months. And then they would take ownership of this building. The piece of property behind Greenwood is in a floodplain outside of the playground. It's not anything we could ever use, and I believe they have interest in some infrastructure for some flooding that goes through that piece in some neighborhoods. So it's something that would have happened anyways. So that is what this contract is. I just wanted to give a slight explanation to those of you that are in the room that might not know what we're talking about doing, but I'm super excited. I think that it's the best for both entities, and very appreciative that they have agreed to go to the table with us.
They are allowing us to stay in this building until we get renovations done in that building.
Yes.
CASA,
I've had a number of calls
yeah, me
over
too.
this.
Okay, so, they had a special board, no, so while they're asking, CASA offices in the Armory, so they have a lease agreement with them. We have offered up a couple of our spaces for them to rent. They came and toured one of them today. I'm not sure if they're going to choose that or if they're going to choose something else, but that was one of the things that we had kind of brought to the table to begin with, is that as we rearrange what we do on Central's campus, we will have spaces that we would be able to rent to community partners. And so they are just the first that we were able to say, we know that is misplacing your office. Here are some options that you could look at through us. I think they were also gonna go visit another space today, and they told me where it was, but I don't wanna quote that, right here. But so they had some options they were going to check out today.
Do you think they'll take their 120 days to move out?
Well, if hope is a strategy, I hope not. If they do, they do. That's a contract they have with the city, and I would not ask the contract to obviously, they would not break that contract. We do have a potential closing date on here sooner than that. And so, if they find a space or they choose to use one of ours, they would be able to move sooner, and then we'd be able to start renovations sooner. If they do not choose to do that, then in May, at the May board meeting, we would just make an amendment to this and we would change it to July, which is what the closing date would have to be if they take the 120 days.
Okay.
So we are doing our very best to work with them and then give them other options.
And another worry was that it would be available for other community groups for meetings and those sorts of things, that we would
Yes.
be open to that.
Yes, there are a couple political
With a
groups.
caveat, maybe.
That meet there, and our board policy does, not permit political groups to meet on our campuses. That is either something, A, we could look at editing, or B, in all actuality, by the time, when that's being renovated, no one will be able to meet there. And when that is finished being renovated, then the city will have this building, and this is a perfect room for them to talk about then allowing those type of groups that really don't fit into our board policy, facilities of use. So I think there are options there.
Well, those were some of the concerns that people expressed when they called.
Do you?
I just have a question, I don't know if this is appropriate time or not. What about things like the Tahlequah Community Theater? Will they still be able to have productions there?
Yes, so I have spoken with them. Now, as we're doing renovations, we'll misplace them for a small amount of time. But our intention is to keep that room like where you can do theater. So we could rent it out to the community theater. If you talk about maybe like dance studios that have things like that. So that room will stay a big flexible space where we could do what we needed to do. But we also could do that, rent the building out when we can work around our schedule.
So their stage will remain?
Yes, the stage will remain. I'm gonna beautify it a bit. The plan would be to beautify the room a bit. But other than that, it will remain a stage and something like that where we could use it for small theater. We could work with them for small theater or things like that. The one thing that would have to change, I'll just say this publicly, I know their dinner theater serves wine and their dinner theater will not be able to serve wine. But I'm sure someone could have a glass of wine before they go to dinner theater if they need it.
Okay, any other discussion?
I'm excited. I'm excited too.
Very excited.
Nice to have space. No more discussion? Ready to vote then, Ms. Neiman?
Aye.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Dr. Kaufman?
Aye.
And Mrs. Crawford? And aye. Next item, H1J, and this is a vote to approve a contract with Trigon Incorporated for the renovation of the Armory Municipal Center property. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion. Second.
Any discussion?
I asked us to pull this out because it was contingent upon the vote that you just did, and so I wanted it to be in order. But this would be a construction management company that would go in and do the renovations for us. There is nothing in here about a particular price yet. That would come to you in a GMP, a guaranteed maximum price document like we had for the barn. But this is just to establish that that's who would work on this project. If, one of the reasons, other than I'm just very impatient as a whole, that I wanted to have the project start quicker is because we have a GMP with this company already for the barn, right? And so on that, you have administrative costs, job superintendents and all of those things. You pay a price, whether it's one project or 5. And so if I can get these on at least a couple months of the same time frame, it saves us money. That's really why I was trying to push that as quickly as possible, thinking it would overlap and whatever I can do to save the district money. Either way, hopefully we'll get at least maybe a month out of it.
If there are no other discussion, we'll vote. Mrs. Nemo?
Aye.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Dr. Kaufman?
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford? And aye. Item I, discussion and vote to approve the schedule of encumbrances. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Mrs. Newman.
Aye.
Dr. Eversole.
Aye.
Dr. Kaufman.
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford. And aye. Discussion and vote to approve the revised 2024-25 school calendar due to snow days, and this pertains to THS 2025 school calendar with revisions.
That should be
TPS,
TPS,
Yes, I
I did not catch that, my fault.
I will move to approve J1 with the revision of changing THS to TPS.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Mrs. Newman. Aye. Dr. Eversole.
Aye.
Dr. Kaufman.
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford. And aye. Discussion and vote to approve the revision of the following policies. Policy 1, revision of the 60-25 student transfers, fourth quarter, and policy, second one, revision of 60-40 district welfare policy. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Any discussion?
The student transfer fourth quarter, by law, we have to do that quarterly.
Right.
And so the fourth quarter, we always, we take it where, usually there are no transfer spots left, and so we just keep it there, and then we will reset the capacity, July 1 for the following school year. The second district wellness policy, we are in the middle of a child nutrition review from the State Department, and there were some suggestions from them, and so Lacey was able to just go ahead and implement those as the review was going on. And if you want any more specifics, I know she is prepared to answer questions if you have any.
Any more discussion? Vote. Mrs. Newman. Aye. Dr. Eversole.
Aye.
Dr. Kaufman.
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford. And aye. Item L, motion and vote to approve personnel items. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Any discussion? Mrs. Newman. Aye. Dr. Eversole.
Aye.
Dr. Kaufman.
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford. Aye. Item M, new business, and we do have new business. Have 2 contracts, so item A, motion and vote to approve the following contracts. One is contract with Onward and Upward to provide a specialized academic program to TPS from March 7, 2025 to June 30, 2025. And 2, contract with DHS to provide 2 school-based family specialists for the 2025-26 school year. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
What is the first one?
It's so, that would be Onward and Upward. We're contracting with them. They have some behavior therapy that they offer at their facility, some sensory therapy, some things that we don't know that we need it yet, or we don't have a specific time or student specifically right now. That would be determined through the IEP team process. We wanted to have that available, so it's just a contract that services as needed. We can
Thank you.
bring that to the IEP team.
Behavior issues as needed, you said?
Yeah, they have some ABA therapy, they have sensory therapy. There's some technical specific things that they can offer that we might not have somebody trained in. We offer OT, PT, and speech related services, so they offer those as well. So it'd be their additional services that they offer at Onward and Upward.
Any further discussion? Mrs. Newman? Aye. Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Dr. Kaufman?
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford? And aye. Item N, adjournment.
What about the